Hello, hello, hello. We are moments away from 15 minutes thereabouts of qualifying to set the grid for round 7 of FRL's Season 8 after last week, where there was quite a chaotic race with several drivers missing from FWA. Mavi returned to the top step of the podium, taking his second win in FRL. I am Nexi. I am here in the comm box. I will be your commentator for this afternoon. 15 minutes of wait once again. As we take a look at Monza now, the Temple of Speed, as it is often called. 13 drivers will be taking the grid today. We have the Alpine, Sole Alpine today of Troy. We have Maru, the only Ferrari, who managed to get onto the podium last time for the first time in his career. That was not caught on camera due to me being at a convention. No driver coming out of the pits quite yet, but we also have Leo and Mavi, the two Mercedes drivers. Currently 3rd and 10th on your pictures. I see a McLaren, I believe. No, a Haas. That looked like a very orange shirt for a Haas driver. But that Haas, we had 2 Haas drivers today, Random and Jork, and it looks like it is going to be Jork first up here in Monza T1. Very infamous in sim racing all around. We had 2 V-carbs today as well. We have Lenny and Sierra. Lenny missing a big opportunity to get some points up in the championship. Not missing out on the win last week. This gives John a pretty large lead in that championship, about 30 points thereabouts, with half the season to go, though still anything can happen. John being our sole Williams representative today, not yet out of the pits. We have 2 Aston Martins, a very familiar duo, Skylar and Avo. And we have a single Red Bull today, as well as a single Sauber. Lenny, not Letty, Cridas being the single Sauber. I cannot talk today, apparently. I'm coming off a slight headache, I suppose, so Cridas, the sole Red Bull today. Luck, the sole Sauber. Now let's take a look at turn 1 of Monza right now. Many an incident has happened here across many a game, and many a real-life race as well. Very hard braking zone. You're going full speed down the front straight and DRS zone on the track. And then you have to brake as late as you can if you get it wrong. Or if you underestimate the Constantina effect going into turn 1. You will be ending up either rear-ending somebody or forced to take an escape road. We then have Curva Grande turn 2 flat out in these cars. Then the second chicane here into the 2 Lesmos. These are very high-speed corners. Light taps on the brakes to rotate the car. Jork having an invalidation, I think, cutting the track a little bit, so he'll be going a little bit slower. We have Avo now. Going through the second Lesmo here, onto the first of 2 DRS straight, so this one leads on down to Ascari. You go underneath the bridge here. You want to brake about 75 meters, thereabouts. Take Ascari as flat as you can. You want to get the exit right because you go on a long straight down here. No DRS for this one. But you do brake once again. Pretty late for Parabolica. You want to hug the inside, get that late apex, and then slingshot out wide. And you will set a lap time here at Monza. 1:19 is what Avo sets. We have a Red Bull about to cross the line. All 4 cars going behind her right now, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 1 to let some cars on by. There's a Haas going on through. But 1:19.8 is what Avo sets provisionally to get us rolling. couple other drivers going to be on out here. I believe Sierra is on a flyer here, going on through Ascari. The Dragon from Cornwall going to be making a good show of it, as Lux sits at 119.3. Avo only 6 tenths behind. Field maybe narrowing up a little bit. This is a pretty quick lap. Expect time, or pole time, to drop into the 118s. Sirius at the 119.896, almost a tenth behind Avo. It looks like she had a very strong lap in that Aston Martin to get things going. We have first of our pole contenders going to be setting up a lap. Our championship contender 2 here in the bright pink V-carb. Different to the other V-carb. Lenny going to be going on down. Takes the nice late break there. Tries to get Ascari as flat as he can. The German going to be going on down now, and we'll see how he managed to take Parabolica. He wasn't sure if he was going to be racing today, but he is out on track. Raring to go. Did not have reportedly too much time to get used to the setup, but I don't think it matters right now, with a 1:18.7 being set as our provisional pole time, and that will be a nice contention for one. Luck in the 119s is surely going to want another crack. We then have Leo and Mavi. Mavi, our race winner last time out on an out lap, excuse me. Gonna be going on through. John, our championship leader, yet to come out of the pits, let alone set a time. 12 minutes to go. It's gonna be Mavi and then Leo setting a time, and the two Mercedes, the pair of them, going to be as strong as they can. They're both going to be itching to set a good time here. As Mavi cuts hard to the inside. You want to take that as in as you can, really, on your hot lap especially. Mavi then goes on through. You want to be able to get onto the power right before that late apex at the second part of the chicane, because you get the whole run down through Curva Grande into turns 3 and 4. Pass getting out of the way. There was an impeding penalty last week as well for who came out of the pits and then couldn't quite get out of the way in time of Lenny, who was challenging for pole position that race. Overall, your championship, there's still half of the season to go. Thereabouts, a little under half. And your championship is won or lost, really, on how you absorb the pressures, how you capitalize on opportunities, and how you bounce on back. It's consistency, but it's also not letting anything get to your head, as Mavi is going to be crossing the line. A 119 flat pushes him into P2 provisionally. We will then have Leo crossing the line, our Season 4 champion. Going to be going on through here. The Parabolica stays out wide, cuts in. And that's a 119.450 behind Luck. I think he ran out of battery a little bit at the end, but I can't be too sure. Battery deployment's going to be key on your out lap here. Unlike in previous games, you do have overtake available on your hot laps, I should say, in qualifying. And so there's a lot of strategy to be had on when you deploy that battery, when you let it charge, when, how, and if you manage your energy, and it can be quite hard towards the end of this lap. You could recharge a lot of energy going into turn 1, but obviously you only get that once, and you'll be at a full battery once you get to turn 1 there. Prudis 121, Random of 120. Troy 120.3, just barely ahead of Random, actually. As we have John starting a flyer now. Look at that beautiful Golf Williams. Going to be going on through, braking late. The light blue and orange car here. Going to be zipping on through Curva Grande. A little bit of blue on the side pod. I love that livery. John then brakes a little bit late. Goes in through here. And we'll see what we get through the Lesmos. Hit that apex, and you want to hit the apex here. Get on the power. Maybe you brake a little bit earlier than what would be the mathematically perfect line, just so you can get on that power a little bit going down this straight, and that is potentially a purple sector too for John as he goes now down into the third sector. Gonna brake right about here. Very light. You can take a lot of speed for Parabolica here. It's a daring corner as you go on through. But you want to be flat at the end, and you set a 118.5. There's your provisional pole time right now. Kimaru also going to be out here. Last driver to set a time right now. Nothing invalidated. York has a 122.5. Maru sets a 120.5, a podium sitter last time out. Not a lot of time there. Part of me wonders if something went wrong with the battery deployment on that lap, because that is a very slow lap from Maru here. A little bit of chaos around the first turn of the track, but that's just drivers letting each other by as Lenny is trying to challenge John for that provisional pole time. Still a lot of time left. He should have time for one more run if he does want it. John has a good shot at being last to cross the line, getting the best track evolution. Other drivers going to be looking on through. The Mercedes pair is back to back right now on their in lap. Sorry, on their out laps here. Going to be jostling around a little bit. It's going to be, they have to give each other some space, and I can see them starting to do that now. And Lenny aborts his flyer. So it's going to be Leo to second these two. We'll watch on board with the German Dragon right now. He's going to be going on through here, and the Mercedes pair does have clean track ahead of them for their hot laps. That'll be key. A lot of drivers will be probably holding as late as they can to get that track rubbering in. Track rubbering in's not quite, I believe, based around how many cars actually run on it in this game. I could be wrong on that one, but I think it's just the later you go, the better off you are in terms of rubbering in, which isn't quite how it works in real life, because what that's trying to emulate is as cars run on a track, and as, like, say, the support series especially run on a track, more rubber gets put onto the ideal racing line, which makes it grippier, which speeds it up. Considers a game of balancing between your time in terms of clean air versus getting the rubbered in track, and also trying to make it in the end. And there have been some qualifying incidents here around drivers being able or unable to get it to the end, as Troy has lagged out of the session. Leo does set a 118.8 as Malvi aborted their time. 118.8, pretty strong for our Dragon friend here. A couple other drivers had bailed out. This is going to give Jork, technically in the home team here in the Ferrari, a chance to set a stronger time than he had. Gonna want a lot of improvement coming out of this. A lot of time left on the board for him. Currently, things are shaping up into a very interesting fashion right now, but very familiar at the top. John and Lenny at the first row provisionally. Leo back up into the top 3 of qualifying. Always going to be looking to make a strong performance there. Tomorrow going to be rounding here. Going to have to flick on that battery down this straight. We'll see what they do. Pulls off to the outside now and begins a flying lap, home lap into Scuderia Ferrari here. So far, the only driver on a hot lap right now is Kimaru in this Ferrari. He's going on through, takes Curva Grande, and now we should see a whole gaggle of drivers starting to come on out. Pits as this goes on. Kimaru will only a tiny bit of improvement in that first sector. We'll see what they're able to do here, but there is a Haas coming through on a flying lap. That is random. So far, a lot of cars jostling and jockeying, and Prid-ass gets out of the way. And that's only a 10th of improvement in the second sector right now. He will not have any more time. This will be it, effectively. The Mercedes are going out for a third run. I see both Aston Martins out. Pretty much everybody's going on out, except for John, who will be leaving it pretty late. That Haas is in the pit. It's not going to be able to set a new time. Kimaru only manages a 10th of improvement. And that's going to be it in terms of his times. There's a Sauber back there as Troy lagged out of the session again. So we'll see a bunch of drivers going on to out laps and hot laps, and there is going to be quite a mess to sort out down there. And I think this just benefits John, who essentially waited to go out of the pits until effectively as late as he felt he could get away with to get out of that gaggle of cars. And you can see them all jostling around and trying to find position. Especially because there are going to be some slower drivers back there, but they are entitled to make a hot lap. And so I don't think the Mercedes are going to be letting... If you're the Mercedes, you want to be in front of the Aston Martins right now, as Lenny's going to also begin his hot lap. Luck has begun his final hot lap as well. We were watching the Sauber going through. That Mercedes is going to be very close to that Aston Martin there, and that is Skyler. But that gives Avo plenty of room to make a run, and then we should have John able to cross the line in time, and he does. Luck going to be going on through into the second Lesmo, late apex there. And starts to zip on down to Ascari. 3/10 of improvement right now. A very strong improvement, but it's not going to be enough to make a move up if Mavi improves as well. We'll see how much improvement Luck can find in Parabolica here as both V-card. That's a V-card that's still. That's a V-card that's still. Lenny has invalidated. So Lenny has invalidated, and Sierra's going to be letting everybody on through, as both of them seem to have messed up on their final outlaps. Luck finds a little bit of time over Mavi, but it's not enough to get ahead of Leo. Leo and Mavi are going to have a chance to improve here, but John will probably be sitting on pole here. Mavi does not improve. Leo improves, but not in position, so Lenny will be P2. John will have P1, and he won't even need to finish this lap to get it. And we had two Aston Martins going to be crossing the line very shortly right now, as both of them seem to have invalidated as well. A lot of invalidations on this final lap for a lot of drivers. I think John even decided to save the tires a little bit. Yeah, save a lap at the tires. He already got the pole time. So drivers are just going to be going into pits right now to save that extra lap of wear. As currently our grid is a Williams V-Car Mercedes. 1, 2, 3. Three of our veterans at the series at this point are reigning champion, a contender, and a former champion. A front three with a lot of pedigree, you could say. As that's an interesting camera angle for... Okay. I'll take it as John sets a pole time of 1:18.5. His first lap, he decided he did not even need to set the second one. Lenny invalidated on the last run. Sierra's behind Avo back there. Who Avo solidifies herself as the best of the rest right now. The best of those who have yet to win a race in FRL, I should say. Avo's still searching for the podium, too. Had gotten close in a few positions, but let it slip away. She's gonna have to earn it. As many of these drivers have earned their place on the podium. Welcome to Monza for race day. It's looking pretty big and bright, and are we re-hosting? Kritos is going to be unable to set his strategy, if that's what... Here we go. Oh boy. Seems that there is some difficulties happening right on now. Here we go. So... we're awaiting... We're awaiting decisions to be made in a few regards. As it goes on down to the FIA now to decide what to do. couple drivers have some issues. And that might hurt them in the race itself. We're essentially just waiting on Prudest to get back in, which there he is. So we know we're just going to be a few moments away from beginning the formation lap of the Italian Grand Prix. And once the formation lap is done, we'll have 5 red lights and then 27 laps at Monza. A lot of drivers might be expecting some turn 1 shenanigans, but we shall see what happens in turn 1. It's hard to break. It can be. We shall see what these drivers are able to cook up, though. Strategy-wise, keeping in mind, 2 stops are mandatory as well. So we're expecting quite a few different strategies eventually come into play. This track normally is very one-stoppable, very good on the tires. Not a lot of corners to deal with to really wear them out. The Lesmos can put some wear on them with the high speeds. And with prevalent lockups, you can run into some issues with your tires, but beyond that, we are looking quite strong. It'll be interesting to see if which tires come into play when and how often, as here we go. Our formation lap is underway with hard tire starts for John and Lenny, our front row as they were. We then have Leo starting on the medium tires to lead off the Mercedes pair in row 2 with luck. Being the second driver on row 2 on the hards. We have Mavi on the hard tires. Doing the opposite of his teammate right now. And then we have Avo in P6 rounding out row 3. Row 4 begins with V-Carb of Sierra and then Ridas in the Red Bull. Row 5, their last points paying positions are currently held by Random and Skyler. Both drivers going to be looking to hold on to these positions as there were some hungry contenders behind them. We have Troy in P11 in the Alpine, starting on the medium tires, and then our last 2 drivers are on hard tires. We have Kimaru and Jork. Lenny going to be looking to get off of the line very strong here. They are on equal tires to John. A little bit of lag there, I saw, as that's going to bring Leo ahead on the formation lap, but he will line up correctly. Leo being on the softer tire. I'm actually seeing possible strategies being the 2-stop hard, medium. So if you see these medium drivers on a lap 1 safety car, they can just pit onto hard tires and do a hard. Effectively a 1-stop. A little bit of getting back and forth. Leo's gonna hope, if there's no safety car, to get a very good launch off the line, and using that launch and the long straight, get right onto the inside of those 2. Maybe make it some 3-wide action into turn 1. We'll see. John just wants to get through turn 1 cleanly without anybody rear-ending him. Lenny is going to probably hope for the same. if he doesn't get a good launch. But he has a hungry dragon behind him, a hungry countryman behind him, as we're 5 red lights away right now. FRL's away in Monza, and that's gonna be, that looks like Kamaru getting a pretty good launch. Skylar bogs down a little bit. That's Sierra also getting a pretty good launch, but right now we're gonna be 3 wide in the turn one. 3 wide in the turn one. There's a driver in the grass taking the escape road. A lot of wheel banging in the turn one. Leo did get the launch, but then got bogged down on the inside. Sierra has a penalty flag here being waved, and that's Lenny ahead of that mess in the turn one. A lot of wheel banging, but John's gonna be looking to get on right by. That's a Red Bull very far behind. That's Prides, who appears to have been going, who is going very slowly through turn one right now. He is very slow, and I'm not sure what. We're gonna ignore that and go back to the fight for the lead right here, as Lenny, I am confused. Lenny is now going on in, and look at how close these drivers are right now. Leo is going to be looking to the inside of Luck, but he is now down at the P4 once all that wheel banging is said and done. Nava managed to hold P6 as Sierra went very far back. And then that's Jork actually getting on by Troy right on there. But here we go on through, and that is a tour of Monza done, and it is Lenny over John, over Luck, over Leo, over Mavi. Then we have the 2 Aston Martins. Skylar made up 3 positions for all that. We have the Ferrari here. That's Leo looking to the inside of Luck. He was alongside, they're still alongside now going through Curva Grande, but Luck hits the inside line through Curva Grande, and that's going to allow him to hold the position here. In that flat-out turn, you want to be on the inside. That is still Prides going slowly through Ascari now. I'm not entirely sure what is going on there. A couple drivers going to be looking on through. It appears that chaos is the order of the day as Prides is out of the session, and that's a safety car! Safety car deployed as John was making a move! And suddenly this race is neutralized as we go on through Ascari. We have a Dutch angle on Ascari for reasons, but that's a safety car out. I'm not entirely sure why beyond Prides just retired on track rather than getting to the pits. I don't know what happened there. That's Lenny and Leo. Lenny pitting this early off of the hard tires is an interesting call. Leo did what I thought he would, which was pit off of the mediums, and he's going to presumably be pitting on the hard tires. Lenny just wanting to, I think, try something. Lenny pits onto a second set of medium tires, so he brought the second set of medium tires, and is effectively going to try to recreate... No, he started on the hard, excuse me, so he brought a medium tire set. It feels like he's effectively going to try to recreate a one-stop with Leo at this point. Which is a fair enough call. Lenny is ahead of Troy. Leo will not be ahead of Troy. Nobody else has decided to pit. And if anybody else does decide to pit, they will find it very difficult. Sierra does get the penalty cleared, it looks like. So actually, for Sierra, this brings him back into the race right now. He can effectively do a one-stop again. With the free pit stop in it. Yeah, he's gonna be back in now without the penalty here. This safety car is shaking up a lot of people. I feel like a lot of them had a plan here. Where is John in all this? John is leading, right. Lenny is down. I misread. I misread my timing sheet. I apologize. I have a headache. A whole lot of drivers going to be trying their best to now catch up to this pack here, as we are on lap 4 of 27 here in Italy. Be looking John's a little side by side for turn 1. Come on through. That's Sauber. Alright, Sauber. Going on into the chicane here. Safety car going to be entering the Lesmos. The Hasses are going through Curva Grande right now. At this pace, we should be in this lap. Zero is now entering Curva Grande. He is the last driver. As soon as the drivers look like they're going to catch up to the pack in Sector 3, that is when the safety car goes in. It's going to be kind of tight. Going to be tight through Ascari, with Sierra entering Lesmo 1 now. So he is in the same sector. Not seeing a message about the safety car coming in. And that there, Jork had a collision with Rand, his teammate, and that's a 10-second penalty. It probably wasn't a severe collision. It was probably just a slight rear bump. But that is not what he wanted to see, and you can also see in the background there, Sierra coming on in. But we are past the point, the decision point for the safety car, so the safety car will do another lap. I think that just helps you if you're on the medium tires. I think it actually helps you if you're Lenny. You get an extra lap of low wear out on the medium tires. Jork's pitting. I guess he has wing damage then. Either that or he wants to serve the penalty. Yeah, he is serving the penalty here, and he's going to get onto hard tires. We'll see what he does from there. But it's going to be John, Luck, Mavi, Avo. That is our order restarting this. In terms of the tire situation, I'm not happy if I'm that British Bird down in P4. On 4-lap old medium tires, but there's a little bit less wear from the safety car. But you don't want to be on the older medium tires compared to a grid on hard tires with a long stint ahead and a couple drivers behind who are going to be staring you down, who only have to make one green flag stop. You have to make 2 green flag stops, and your first one's going to be quite early. Safety car going to be coming on in this lap now. The green flags wave around Monza, but we will see when John decides to go. There's going to be a lot of bunching up. John's effectively throttled until Parabolica. So you'll see he's going very slowly. The game does throttle you for a bit. A lot of tire weaving going to be going on. Unless you're in the Sauber there, in which case then you just kind of stay on through. A lot of drivers going to be looking. John gets onto the racing line, and we are going to very shortly be going in Monza. Luck getting a little too close for comfort. But John has not yet started until now, and we're away once again in Monza. As that is John timing it in a way. Luck got a little bit too eager. Luck will have a chance through here, as there's Leo in the back going to be making up a position on Troy there. Lenny also making up positions, and you can see that pink V-carb making up a position on the Ferrari there as Kimaru falls on down to P7. But it's John getting the launch off of Luck that he needed right now. Further on back, I can even see Avo challenging Mavi a little bit right there on those medium tires. But so far, it is Lenny charging up the field. Now he is past Skyler, the German making good progress. The Canadian giving way, and the Canadian now fighting the other German on the grid. as that is Leo getting on through in the first Lesmo here. A very tricky spot to overtake, but when you can make it work, you can make it work well. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3, and I don't know why. There is, in fact, no yellow flag on Sector 3, so I think the game is okay. I think it's struggling here, as we can see Luck right on the back, and that's Leo legging out, and that's a disaster. Oh, that's a disaster. A technical issue for the German here, and that's going to set him back. Clear Evans will be right on that, but technical issues hitting that car, and that is going to be deflating if you are Leo here. Lenny, meanwhile, managing to get up into P4 through Parabolica. Didn't even need turn 1 to make that work, as Ava's now going to be glad that she's holding on to P5 here. As that's Sierra getting on by Leo. We have Jork at P10 ahead of Troy, actually. Troy, who has fallen back a lot right now, and hopefully things keep on going through. A lot of technical issues hitting this grid as this race gets back underway, but we now have John, Luck, Mavi, and then behind them by over a second is Lenny, whose medium tires are starting to kind of show a little bit of age, maybe. If not age, then at the very least, he just does not have the pace to get these three who are on a DRS train ahead of him. Leo managing to rejoin, but he will rejoin this grid in 12th and have to do it all over again. His advantage is that he is on de facto a one-stop, where he could just go onto another set of hard tires. And I think that was his plan, was at any point in his first stint, he was going to pit for hards. Luck managing to make a move to the inside through turn 1, and that's a brave one there, as that John falls down into second place. The more these free fight, the more they are eventually going to let Lenny back into this race. Lenny, who is, remember, de facto on a one-stop. He only has to pit one more time. Troy is in the pits and pitting onto hard tires. So he's still gotta stop again. But Luck is our new race leader here. He won in Belgium. He's looking for a second win this season. But that is going to be Luck looking, and John, no threat to the Hungarian right now. If they continue to fight, it does bring in Lenny. They are weaving through that straight right now, trying to break the toe as much as they can. Lenny's falling behind here. Sierra managed to get on by Skylar further back, and it's a very close-fought affair here, actually, as you can see even the Haas of Random getting in on this as John manages to make a DRS pass through turn 1. But we can see here Sierra managing to get on by, and that's going to be Skylar pulling to the inside of the Ferrari, but that's Kimaru holding it, but ooh, getting a little bit squirrely here and a little bit elbows out racing, as this is just going to let Sierra get further ahead. Skylar, its car is looking quicker, but Kimaru has the defense. Skylar manages to pull out to the inside, and oh, he's squeezed hard by Kimaru. And there may be some angry Canadian noises as another dragon continues to fight. We might be in the realm of hard but fair, or at least hard but legal. As it looks like the Haas is going to try to make a move now. And that's Kimaru pulling out a small gap, but DRS will come back into play here. Further ahead, looking at the main straight, John sets the fastest lap at the Grand Prix so far, but Luck will have the DRS here. Luck looks inside, thinks better of it. That's gonna be... I see Sierra as well, starting to catch up to Avo. Further behind, you can see there's a little bit of a Kamaru train going on here, and this is letting Leo get back into this fight and at least salvage out some points here. Leo and P10 in this train. We'll see what these drivers are able to do as they go on through Curva Grande, and that's Random falling a little bit behind of the Aston and Ferrari fighting ahead, and that's going to be Leo side by side. Random not fighting it too hard, and that's Leo through, and he needed to make that pass this lap. He needed to get on by so that he could start to put down the lap time, start to get the pressure onto Skylar now. Canadian going to be looking, and if I'm him, I'm just going to, yeah, not challenge him too hard into the DRS zone, maybe even slightly just let him by and let him challenge the Ferrari. You don't want to lose time here, you know. As John's pitting now. So John's going to pit onto probably a set of hards. Or a set of mediums. Either or. It's a set of hards. So John pits onto the hard tires, and most of the grid's going to sneak on by him. Including Jork here. And he is behind Jork, which is bad for him. You don't want to be behind Jork here, as Leo does manage to get on through Kimaru right now, and that's going to allow him to start to close in on Sierra. The game is telling me that there is yellow flag in Sector 3, even though there is none. John did manage to get on by Jork quite quickly here, so minimizing the time loss, and he is going to catch up to this train, presumably. Skylar's still stuck behind this Ferrari, and if you're Skylar, you do not want to be stuck here for much longer. Sierra's actually caught up to Avo right now. We can see that dragon from Cornwall. He's looking. Shows a little bit of a dummy to the inside of Parabolica, but Avo doesn't let that spook her. As that's going to be Lenny now into a net lead of the Grand Prix here. Avo also peels off into the pits, getting 10 laps out of those medium tires, and it is Sierra. So Sierra and Lenny are our 1-2 pair right now. Sierra can pit one more time. Lenny also only has to pit one more time. We'll see how far they both take their tires. So far, Leo, actually, I believe, yeah, he doesn't have to, well, he started on medium, yeah, he started on mediums, he went on to hards, he has to pit one more. So our top three just have to pit one more time, and they can all, I believe, pit onto hards. The only one who might not is Sierra, and I apologize for not fully remembering that. But it looks like Kimaru has managed to now pull out a gap. And this is going to be Skylar now trying to defend from Random in the Haas. I think what happened is Random put some pressure on, but now John is caught up in this fight between Skylar and Random. But John does have a lot of exit speed here. He gets a good run out of Ascari. Random pulls inside a little bit, and that's not what John wants to see. As Kimaru goes into the pits and Skylar goes into the pits, and that's probably what John wanted to see. He could still get the DRS out of those two while now getting clean air. He has clean air effectively down to Leo, as that's Locke now going to pull to the inside of Random. And Luck and John are in the same race, effectively. They're on similar strategies. Kimaru is behind Avo. Avo managing to get the undercut there. If you're Skylar, I think you're frustrated that Kimaru pit with you. So you now see the different tires, and so their strategy is going to diverge. There's a yellow flag for Skylar as Pritis left the session, but there was a yellow flag for Skylar out there, I think dealing with Troy. And that's going to set it very far behind, and we'll see if anything comes of that post-race. But I could not catch that here as Mobby manages to get on by Random. Random already stopped in the safety car, so he's on one stop effectively. In terms of green flag stops, I should say. I say that because when you pit under safety car, you get a much reduced pit stop. A lot of strategists will call it a free pit stop. It's technically not free. We saw it change position when drivers didn't pit. But the pit delta is like 10 seconds slower depending on the track, if not more than that. You save a lot of time pitting into safety car. And with the full safety car, you get to go right up and bunch up with the rest of the field, and you get an equal shot at the restart, so your gaps are neutralized. And you only sometimes give up track position, hence most strategists will call it a free pit stop. VSC is a little different because the field does not do a restart, so you effectively just get the reduced delta, which can affect track position and give you that free stop. So when I say de facto one stop, I'm just talking about full pit stops under green flag conditions as Skylar manages to get right on by Troy. Troy putting a little bit of pressure onto the Canadian, but ultimately starting to fall a little behind as we go through the Lesmos, and then there will be Random behind this pair. Lenny is now on 12-lap-old medium tires, and surely at this point he is going to start to feel it. Sierra's on 12-lap-old hards with Leo, and then it's John and Luck. Right nose to tail here. I'm watching that gap between Lenny and Sierra, but Leo is going to now have DRS on Sierra. And Sierra's going to effectively have to, there is the opportunity for Sierra to do some team games here and to try to eke out as much of a gap to Lenny as he can, but Lenny is on very old medium tires. He's going to have to stop soon. But if you're Sierra, I know Sierra likes to be cheeky, and maybe you could do a little bit of a cheeky lift at the apex and see if you can get your teammate some gap. You know, just, Lenny decides to take that question out of the equation and pits right now, so this is going to let the entire grid go. I mean, there's still the opportunity to do it. Lenny won't have the track position, but most of these guys do have to pit again as Luck hits Leo, braking into turn 1, trying to get on by John and spins out. And that's also a Mercedes slow with him, but Luck is very slow. Now coming out and recovering, Luck he went for the move on John, but broke a little too late, and Leo was also there. That's going to slow down John a little bit, though. Not too much, but it does technically slow him a little bit, as it also slows down Leo. Most importantly for Leo, it breaks his DRS to Sierra. And in the background of all of this is going to be Lenny. These drivers are going to have to clear Sierra as fast as they can. John manages to get on by Leo. Leo's now going to remain behind, and if you're John, you want to clear Sierra here. If not this lap, then next lap. And then you want to take advantage of the clean air and your relatively similar tires. 5 laps is still a pretty big difference. It's not the worst difference in the world, as Sierra pits. So, Sierra taking that out of the question. Leo also pits. Sierra gets a 10-second penalty for speeding. Importantly, John does not get DRS off of Sierra this time. Nor did he get it off of Leo from that. Being ahead. And now it is John and Mavi. Then Luck, then Lenny. Avo's holding P5. He's doing pretty well right there. We have Sierra in P6 with a penalty once again. And then it's Leo in P7 who pit onto medium tires. Medium tires that he had earlier. Those are 2-lap-old medium tires, even though he just pit. So he pit onto the medium tire set he had at the start of the race. Which is an interesting move, but 10 laps to go. We'll see how it pays off. Lenny is good to go to the end. John and Mavi have to stop, as well as Luck. Luck, I think, threw away a chance at the win. He might have a chance at the podium, depending on when he pits. Where there's another safety car. John's pitting now. So John's going to go into the pits here. That's going to let Mavi go into the lead. I think he was looking at the gap to Lenny, and he does not want to be undercut anymore. This is more focused on covering off Lenny. It might put him behind Avo. But Lenny now has a chance to win this Grand Prix here. As here comes John. John on the medium tires. He's going to go to the end, and that's both Sierra and Avo by John. And if you're John, that's kind of a disaster. Because now you're behind Sierra with a 10-second penalty and nothing to lose. Sierra... Yeah, Sierra might just decide here... If he's not confident in his own race, his own ability to get through clean air, if he doesn't have much position to gain or lose at this point, then Sierra might just decide to hold up John as best he can. So if you're John, you want to clear Sierra here. You do not want to lose time fighting a teammate. Especially on medium tires, but John is quick right now. John is very quick right now. And that's Luck getting passed by Lenny ahead as well. So Lenny doing what he needs to do. And that's John to the inside of Parabolica. Sierra giving the squeeze, but then has to go out wide. John holds inside. And he is through, taking advantage of the medium tires. He doesn't even need DRS here. Sierra's going to have DRS, in fact, and that may have been a tactical error. As now John's going to lose a little bit of time fighting Sierra on the outside. Sierra bangs wheels with John a little bit, but is through. And in fact, Sierra very slow on the exit there. But John just mistiming that DRS detection point a little bit. And now it's going to be him having to get by Avo. And then Luck. Lenny, meanwhile, is here. And is going to be able... is past Luck. But Luck is still there. And Luck is still going to put some pressure onto the German. And if Luck decides to make this a fight here, which he might, I think he's good to go. Well, he probably does have to stop again. Mavi pits now. Leo is currently in 10th after pitting onto hards. The Leo did pit again in all this, which I did miss, focusing on John's fight here. But John is now looking to get on by Avo. He goes to the inside of her. He's inside her. And he's through. And he's through. Avo not letting that one cost her too much time. She's on much older tires. Knows it. And the the harder compound, excuse me. John on the softer compound. Going on through. Now that's John in P3. 8 seconds to go. Net 0 with a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. Further on down, Skylar's by Random, but Random's going to be putting on that pressure. They're on about equal tires. A couple drivers still having to stop. 8 seconds in 8 laps. You need a second a lap. It's going to be very difficult for John at this point as luck pits. But it looks like currently both these drivers, both of our main championship contenders, going to be maximizing their points. And that's only an 8-point swing in the championship here as we go. But it looks... we have a good potential for effectively pitting on the safety car being the call. Mavi, meanwhile, is going to be able to hold ahead of Sierra right now, as that's luck behind Kimaru. And luck gets on through. Ferrari just not really able to fight that Sauber on soft tires. Luck's kind of doing a glory run here. And with all the penalty time, actually, Sierra might fall behind Luck in the end, because I think there's a 10-second for speeding and a 3-second track limit. So Luck's actually in a pretty strong race for P4 here. Well, now he only needs to have a 10-second gap. As Luck has a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. And I say that right as I'm talking about the penalties with Luck's race. Avo did pit again. And so that's her now on fresh medium tires, putting pressure on Leo. I think she just had to do it to stop. I think if it were up to her, she wouldn't have stopped again there. And Skylar gets to P10, but currently P9 and P10 are how we look. And that's Kimaru in the pits as well, getting off of those medium tires. So that's going to be both the Mercedes and the Aston Martin here getting a position. Random might be the only other one who potentially stops here, if at all, but Avo might just follow Leo here. Make a move if it's pretty obvious, but otherwise just be content to follow and get positions off of the charge with the DRS here. The one you could get most feasibly is Random 6th place on the 8-leveled hard tires. John, meanwhile, has managed to get 6.7 seconds as the gap now. I just don't think the tires are going to hold up well enough for him to be able to get a lead, pending any mistake from Lenny. But the free pit stop was just too good. And I think that's why they decided to start on the medium tires. You could just make the stop. Or even start on the hard tires. Like, even with the long medium stint, yeah. You just kind of have to know that you're not going to lose the delta gap from hitting on the safety car. So Letty managed to go into the medium stints, did the medium stints, got a lot out of those medium tires. I know he's also pretty good at saving tires when he needs to. That's John still slowly eating in, and that's Ahas in the pits. That's Jork. So once again, pending any mistakes, this is our closest fight on track we are watching right now. And then there's Skylar and Kimaru as well, who are fighting. But it's currently Avo racing Leo. Jork pits on the soft tires. I'm also seeing very close, actually, between Skylar and Kimaru once again. Kimaru did not have the best of qualifying sessions, but he's managed to recover up into P9. It's not where he wanted to be after being on the podium, as there's a yellow flag up in the first sector, and that is Jork letting a car on by in blue flag conditions, and that might actually have sealed it. But Skylar, the Canadian, going to be looking to make a move as they now go on through Parabolica. I'm managing to keep it close, but these two are now going to be right onto that pass of Random up ahead there. Not quite all the way there, but here we go. Skylar gonna be not quite able to make a move this lap. 3-lap old medium tires. But Skylar getting really close now. And I think lifted off on the exit. Just a little bit, but I think he would have been fine if he kept his foot in it. That is Kimaru going a little bit defensive through Curva Grande, but not quite fully. And then it's going to be the two Lesmos. Both of these drivers going to be looking, but up ahead, I am seeing Leo about to close in on Random, and Random's about to be in the fight for his life here. The Italian's going to be fighting the Mercedes and the Aston Martin, both of whom are on much newer tires, both of whom are routinely faster in raw pace. Both of whom have battery, looking at that red blinking light signifying a charge as Leo gets as much slipstream as he desires, then pulls up to the inside of turn 1, and that's Avo hitting Random! I think Avo just broke a little too late and hit Random and spun herself out onto the rear wheel. A similar mistake we saw to Luck. Meanwhile, Skylar getting on by Kimaru in the DRS did not even need the braking zone. But Avo hitting Random's rear tire. That's going to be it there. John's not catching up further ahead. But now it's going to be the Ferrari and the Aston Martin back here fighting each other. That was entirely, I think, a self-inflicted error on Avo's part. Just broke too late, It's turn 1. It always catches these drivers out. You think you can go through it faster, but when you're side by side, you are extremely slow, and when you are a third car following, you have to account for that. Maru looking to the inside of Ascari, a little bit non-committal, a little bit unsure, and decides against going through through Ascari, but Kimaru might have a chance in Parabolica. Skylar not going defensive. Kimaru does like to send it, and I think Skylar knows it, but not able to find a way through Parabolica. And Kimaru chooses to keep the gap, keep the pace. And now Skylar's got to go defensive here. He holds the outside line with the DRS. Because it's a chicane, you do get the inside line on the second part if you hold outside, but Kimaru has to go hard inside and then get to the racing line. Skylar drifts a little bit. A little bit of a snap of oversteers. We can see these cars fighting on through. Mavi's actually also right on the back of John here. Mavi has slightly fresher medium tires. John's might be wearing. He might have warned him out on the charge. And Kimaru is ahead of Skylar right now. Skylar will have DRS for the final lap as Lenny begins the final lap. Mavi's going to be looking. The best overtaking opportunity is turn 1. Mavi not able to do it there. They're now going to be going nose to tail into Curva Grande here as Lenny is going now through the second chicane here. John's going to be holding a good line, holding his line. Mavi not making any move that he doesn't want to risk. He has Parabolica. He has some Lesmos. It's his home race. He will be not... No, that's Random's home race. It's not his home race. My bad. It's technically Kamaru's home race, but we'll see if Skylar's able to ruin the Tifosi party. A lot of... Was that a block I just saw? Did I just see a block? If I did, I'm gonna be a little... And that's Skylar off. Hitting some boards. I think in frustration, but Lenny's rounding Parabolica here. Mavi managed to get on by John and DRS as Lenny wins. And Lenny is going to be happy to see a Mercedes behind. The Brazilian takes P2. John takes P3. Then it's Sierra and P4. Luck is going to cross in P5. And they swap after all is said and done with the penalties. Leo will cross in P6. The German having to take an extra stop. And then it's random. Then Avo, who tagged him. And after frustration, maybe a block. I didn't see the full move happen. I sincerely hope that there wasn't a desperate block, but we have seen many a desperate move in this league, and just in racing in general. But Kimaru, assuming all was legal, takes a well-fought P9. Skylar comes home in P10 for the last points. But that is going to be a 10-point swing in this championship. John's not invincible, and there's still plenty of season left. Before this race, the gap was 35 points. After this race, it'll be... Give me a second to do the quick math. After this race, it'll be a 10-point swing. It'll be 25 points. All that's making Lenny's struggles in the last race all the more heartbreaking for him. As he was on top of this race, made a good call under the safety car, but finishing P4 last time out. That only takes so much out. It only takes so much out. These drivers fighting hard. And only one came out on top. It's Lenny on top, the German bringing it back. Mavi, the Brazilian, takes second. I apologize sincerely. Because it's random in the home race, and they both entered the league at the same time, and they're both red. And I'm tired. There's a lot of red tails on this grid, actually, now that I think about it. What am I on about right now? I don't know. I'd like to thank Corvix for giving us a host this race. We have a 1-week break at the Monza for Canada in real life, and then it'll be the Australian Grand Prix in round 8 of season 8. Australia saw us taking home a couple drivers crowning their championships there. One of my favorite calls, actually, was getting to call Leo's championship in Season 4. Mainly because I got to practice German for that. We then have Miami on June 6th. Then it's Austria, June 13th. Bahrain, June 27th. Then round 12, July 11th is Japan, and July 18th at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin for our finale. And Coda will be a fun finale race. Hopefully there will still be a championship fight for the sake of my commentary. But it was a long, hard-fought victory for Lenny today. And a deserving one at that. I would like to thank, once again, Corvix for hosting today, being our live steward here. We had a couple other drivers going on. We had Drew Outfox in the spectator booth as well. Not doing any commentary, but Still providing that live stewardship. At least being able to take notes and get drivers back in once they disconnected, both of which are important. A couple other drivers. I'd like to thank all our admins and all of our drivers today for putting on a good show as always, and for fighting through these technical difficulties. Random did it very well today too. Good job for him at his home race. I would like to hand it on over. See you guys later. See you in about 2 weeks.